Hi everybody, it's Lavinia. Welcome to my channel. In today's tutorial, I am going to show you how to make this phone pillow. So in another video, I was letting you know that I would be doing this upcoming tutorial. And what it is you just place your phone on here or your tablet. I'm not sure if it would hold an iPad. I don't have one, but the idea is that you would place it here. So let's say, for example, this was your phone, you would place it here, and you can go ahead and look at your screen. This is a square, but you could also place it sideways or horizontally or vertically. And what I wanted to use was the fabric that I had received from the Fat Quarter Shop, and I had wanted to use the one with these sayings, and I wanted to have it reversible with the orange and the green. Because as I had mentioned, this was directional fabric, and as you can see, the cat is here, but if I were to flip it over the other way, the cats are upside down. So I wanted to try and see if I could use these fabrics and have it, even though it's directional, work both ways, so that if you flip it over, even on the other side, it would be directionally correct, so to speak. So what I did is I cut the two pieces of fabric, and then I used a 1/4 inch seam allowance and sewed the edges together and pressed the seams open, so that, for example, when I create the pillow, you'll have that facing this way, and if you flipped it over, it would also be reading correctly that way. And so I'm using this little notebook that I received from Crafty Sue 519. Check out her channel. And I'm using this to write down my notes for my tutorials. So for this phone pillow, the fabric that you're going to need for the main body is 5.5 inches by 13. So again, I'm using directional fabric, so I just cut it enough so that it would measure the 5.5 by 13. And this one here, I didn't put a loop, but I am going to put a back loop here on the one that I make, so that if you can either grab it by there, or if you have your charger going through, you can put the cord in through there as well. So I'm only going to use one, but I am going to make another one for myself. And so I cut one out of the orange and one out of the green. And for the back loop, you're going to need 2.5 by 3 inches. And again, that's optional. And what I did is, so this is 2.5 by 3, and I folded it first in half, like that. And then I folded the edges towards the middle, and I pressed that down, and then I pressed it again this way. And what I'm going to do is go to the sewing machine, back stitch here, come around, back stitch here, and then flip it over, back stitch, go down there with a straight stitch, and back stitch. I'm not going to do these edges here because they'll be in the middle of the pillow, but that's what I'm going to do with these. And so some of the other items that you're going to need are, so besides the fabric, you're going to need some fiberfill. So I just happen to have this one from Pellon. You can use any fiberfill that you want. You could even, let's say you have some decorated pillows and you're looking to toss them out, you can even take the fiberfill from those pillows. I've done that before for the pillows that I have on my in my living room. You also need either some plastic pellets, which this I think I bought at Michael's at one time, and usually I shop at Hobby Lobby, but I think I was using a coupon there, so I bought these plastic pellets. Looks like that. And I think Hobby Lobby sells them as well, but I think their bag is blue. It's probably from a different company. If you don't want to use plastic pellets, you can also use rice. You can use beans. You can use small pebbles. I've seen people use cat litter, where they wash out the cat litter to get rid of the dust. You know, that's an option if you want to. I'm using the plastic pellets over the rice because, as I mentioned, with this, let's say it gets dirty and you want to either toss it into the washing machine, the plastic pellets won't get damaged. I use this in my kitchen, as I mentioned, when I'm cooking or washing dishes and watching YouTube videos or listening to audiobooks. So if it were to get dirty and I just want to, sponge it down, I'm not worried that rice or anything like that would get moldy or anything like that. But again, that's an option. Then, of course, your rotary cutter or your scissors to cut your fabric, your mat, then pins or clips, and I also have a needle here because I'm not sure if at the end if I'm going to do a hidden stitch to close up the side, and I'll show you that, or if I'll use my sewing machine. Then I also have, and of course, your ruler. I also have here a funnel, whoops, and I also have a handmade funnel. This one has a larger hole. I've made some rice bags, the ones that you put in the microwave, and the hole for that is bigger, and this just takes a long time. But so if you don't have a funnel, you can always make your own. And then this is just a scoop to scoop it in here. And I think that's about it. So again, your fabric, fiber fill, plastic pellets, rice, beans, pebbles, etc., rotary cutter, mat, scissors, pins or clips, your ruler, your funnel is optional. I mean, you can always use a spoon if anything. Your thread and needle and thimble are optional. So I already mentioned about pressing down the loops. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the main body of your pillow. All right, so I'm here at the sewing machine, and what I've done is I've taken the fabric and put the pretty sides together. This is the bottom, or if you're using one piece of fabric, this would be your bottom. And I've clipped it here at the sides, or you can pin it. And I've put a mark here at the bottom at one side. I've measured 1 inch from where I've sewn it, again, not from the bottom edge here of where this is pressed open, but by where it's closed. And I'm going to leave this inch open because this is where we're going to have it'll be this portion of the pillow where the phone rests over here. I think this was larger than 1 inch, so I am making it smaller. I think this might have been maybe 2 inches, so I'm making it smaller, making it 1 inch, and I'm going to back stitch here and come to the top. Then I'm going to flip it around and do the same thing, just back stitch, well, I guess I could back stitch here and then just bring it on down, and I'm leaving this top portion open like a little bag, and I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I just have here in my machine just some white cotton thread, all cotton thread, both in the bobbin as well as in the top, and I'm just using white just because there's more white in here, so I figured that's what I would do. So again, just going to start here, one of the ends, and just so. I'm using my stitch marker. It's kind of, whoops, hard to see with the phone here in the middle, but let's get that started. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna, even though it's closed there, I'm still gonna go ahead and just do a back stitch. And then just sew on down. And when I come here to the edge, I'm going to go ahead and back stitch as well. All right. And as I mentioned, I use this in the kitchen, while I'm in bed, just watching videos. While I'm here in the craft room as well. It's just nice to have. Keeps your phone where you know it is. So again here, oops, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch across. So once I'm done with that, I will be back. So again, I'm just leaving this 1 inch opening here. All right, so I've sewn down the sides, and now what I'm going to do is turn it inside out. And I've also went ahead and I clipped a little bit of the corners here where I had sewn, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn it inside out, and I'm going to poke the corners. Now again, one of the corners will have that opening, so it's probably this one here. So it has this opening here, but I am going to go ahead now and take this to my pressing station, and I'm going to press the seams flat, and I'm going to press this in just a little bit, just so that it already has that little hem inside, and that'll make it easier to sew. So again, I'm going to take that to the pressing station, and I will press that down, and I will be back. All right, so I went ahead and I pressed it down, and I also pressed the seams here on the inside just to give it a little hem, and the opening is here, so I just pressed that inside as well, so that when we go ahead to sew it, it's already a straight line. Now what I've done next, and I know it's probably a little bit hard to see, but I've measured 1 inch from the bottom, and I don't know if you can see here, I drew with this tailor's chalk a line going across, and then I measured from here 1/2 inch, which maybe you can see it here. Again, is also the tailor's chalk. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to back stitch and stitch across here, and then back stitch and stitch across here. And again, when I get to the ends, I'll back stitch as well. And this will create the channel where we will put our, you can either put the fiber fill or, you know, your rice or pellets in there. And then that other channel will give you this, which is where your phone or your tablet will go. So I'm going to go ahead and take that to the sewing machine and sew those 2 lines across. All right, so here we are. I've sewn the 2 lines here. So here's one. I use the white, so it is quite hidden. On the other side, this is what it looks like. It's gone across the orange, so you can see it there. And you can use a friction pen if you don't have tailor's chalk, or maybe a light pencil. I just wanted to use the tailor's chalk because I don't have a friction pen. And sometimes I've heard that unless you wash it, if it's cold or whatnot, the lines can still show up. I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't have it, but the tailor's chalk worked fine for me, and that'll wipe off easily. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to fill here the body of the pillow with the pellets and then some fiber fill. So let's get started there. I'm just taking my scoop. And what these pellets or rice does is that it gives some weight to the pillow. Because if you just had fiber fill, it would be very light, but there's a little bit in here. So regardless of whether you turn it over or not, that fiber fill will, will keep that those pellets or that rice in place. And then I have some of the pellets in here as well, but you can use fiber fill. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put like maybe just another tiny little bit. Again, it's just to give it some weight. I don't know, maybe that's about 1 inch or so, maybe just a little bit more. Okay. So, oops, let's see about how much that might be. Yeah, it's maybe about 1 inch, a little bit over 1 inch in there. And now I'm just going to take some of the fiber fill, and I will start filling that up there. Now, when you actually make this to close it, rather than closing it this way, you're going to be closing it this way in a triangle manner. So when you fill it, you just want to make, so maybe you might want to do that first, just to make sure that as you fill it, that's how much fiber fill you want to go ahead and put in there. So I'm just taking some Getting it in there. Okay. As you can see, it's starting to take that shape anyway. So every now and then, you know, just check that. Just a little bit more down here. Okay. So that's what it's starting to look like. So what you're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and either pin or clip the sides here together. Again, you're forming it this way. So you're not closing it this way, you're closing it this way. And again, it's naturally taking that shape too. So I'm going to go ahead and clip the seams together and then also along down the sides. And here's where you can check to see if you have enough fiber fill or if you want to put more or less. And then I'm going to take the loop here, one of these loops. And I actually like the way that the sayings came, because if I fold it this way, you still get to see where it says Everyday Magic. And then this orange one, let's see, maybe this way. You know, when it's in there, you get to see Celebrate. So I thought that was nice. All right, so I'm going to put this green one in here. So I'm folding it over, and I'm just going to insert it here towards the top or the bottom, whichever way. And maybe I'll just use a pin for this one here, just to keep it there, and then just put some clips. And I'm going to take this now to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch, or maybe even less than a 1/4 inch. I'm going to try and get as close to the edge as possible, and making sure to backstitch at both areas. Okay, thought I would try and see if I can get you also to see how I'm sewing this along with my camera rolling, and if I can see it as well. So I have it lined up, and I moved my needle closest here towards the edge. So rather than in the middle, I moved it closer this way. And I'm just going to do just a couple of stitches here to get that going. And I'm going to do my back stitch. And then I'm just going to keep on going. And when I get close here to the pin, of course, I just want to make sure. Let me just put this pin away because of my cats. And I think I'm going to back stitch a few times here where the loop is, just to secure that. And we should be done with this portion. Scissors. So as you can see, that's secure in there. And I'll cut away these loose ends here. And so depending which way you put that, you know, the loop can be here towards the bottom or towards the top. And now what we're going to go ahead and do is just fill this channel here. And again, you can use your fiber fill, you can use the pellets. I'm going to go ahead and use the pellets to fill this. So I will be back. Okay, so I filled up with a funnel the pellets here, and I pinned it here because I am going to go ahead and just take it to the sewing machine and just sew across here. Again, back stitching, and the pin is here in place just to help keep those pellets away from the sewing needle. All right, so here's the finished product and what it looks like. I think it came out really cute. And this was the one, again, that originally I made, and I honestly like this one better with this thinner channel here than this thick one. Here's my old phone, just to not get the glare, I'm just putting it this way. So as you can see, well, okay, let's do it this way. You'll be able to see, so if you're watching videos or whatnot, you get that whole thing, your whole screen, rather than, if you had it here, sometimes this little pillow part would come and block that. So I do like this one better with a thinner channel. And you can also set your phone up this way, so you have that there. So, and again, it's reversible. And it has this little loop. So if you want to put your charger in here, you can go ahead and do that as well. Your cord for your charger. And so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and like, share, and subscribe for upcoming tutorials. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and take care.